This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. With all the technology we have, our phones or devices, high definition TVs, I feel that we are more visual than we ever have been. And sometimes you take it for granted. You see certain images on your phone and you look at them and it's like, wow, yeah, that looks really good. Until you meet this gentleman and see his work. It is like nothing I've ever seen from a photographer. And I feel like he's a chef and he cooked up a meal, and out of nowhere, now my senses, my eyes have woken up. I don't know how he does it. Amazing. We're going to talk about him, his career, the awards he's won, the shows he does. Alan Goldberg joins us on the program today. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, and thank you for that incredible introduction.
Heartfelt, my friend. When I first heard about you and went on your website and started looking around, in less than 6 seconds, I was almost like a slap to the face of, oh, I just woke up. That's what artistic photography looks like. That's what it's supposed to be. And some of the work that you do almost doesn't look like a photograph, but they all truly are, right?
Yes, they all are photographs. I could share. Well, I can't share the screen, but a picture that I have from my background right now is a picture of a modeling session. You know what? Give me another 30 seconds, and I will give this to you. It is one of those photographs that I did. It just started out as a robe, and it was a modeling session with a couple of people, and let me see if I can.
And just to
share.
describe it, if somebody's listening, you can't see.
Yeah,
it's
looking a Asian robe, a Japanese flavored robe, and I actually sent the 5 pictures to show you the development in the pictures, as far as how it goes from a regular photograph to a finished product. I met a gentleman 2 years ago at Miami Art Week who was the publisher of Art World News. And we're talking, and we're outside waiting to go in because it was even before the vendors and exhibitors were allowed to go in. And he's talking, and he said he would be back. He came back, which I was like totally surprised, but not surprised. John Haffey, who is the publisher of Art World News, walked around. He's one of these. He's almost like a godfather of the art world, and he went around to the different galleries, said hello, and it was like I stood back from the first one, and then I had to go to my booth, and it was like watching a scene from The Godfather where they're kissing him, Marlon Brando on the cheek or on the hand, and it was just that kind of thing. And he and I hit it off, and he said, if these are photographs, these are truly refreshingly unique and beautiful. Yes. And I don't know how else to describe them. I know that many of the people that are in galleries say these can't be photographs. They just can't. But and I only print on aluminum because it just gives the color so much more pop and vibrancy. He just said, your work is incredible. Let me see what I can do about getting you into galleries. And I shown my work at the New York Art Expo and Art San Diego. I just had a picture um, that was at the Art Basel in Basel, Switzerland. Uh, and it was a model picture, which was even more crazy because I hadn't even done the picture of the lighthouse behind me. Um, Galleries are kind of still hesitant to accept photography or photo art like I do, but this is, and none of it is AI. It is all in here. Um, and I really get upset, I guess, sometimes because AI has become so prevalent that they believe that people believe that everybody did it. This is truly my imagination. And when you said you don't know how he does it, I've had other people. One of them is Artemis Pyle. I don't. You being in the music world, you might know he was the drummer from Leonard Skinner. He was one of
Sure.
the two musical survivors of the airplane crash.
Sure.
And Artemis and I are now friends for the last 11 years now. I've been photographing him and meeting. And I did a picture of Artemis. I've done a picture of Tito Puente Jr. And Tito and I are also good friends now. Talk about somebody that never stops moving. Uh, but yeah, at last, in the last 2 years, I've photographed a lot of musicians and turned their pictures into art and have given them copies of the picture. I have some of them for sale on my website. Everything that I do, I limit to 25 copies of each. And that's part of what's going to make them rare and valuable and collectible. The interior decorators are starting to catch, or my photography is starting to catch their eye. And when I have nothing else to do, like I sent you before, I sent the last. I don't know whether you can open them up or not because it's not. I don't know whether they're loading the picture of the kimono.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Can
can
we
open.
walk that? Can we walk through that? So
Yeah,
let's
sure.
center on the Ponce Lighthouse. This is a lighthouse in Florida. For
Oh,
anybody that
okay.
can't see this, we are looking up at to the top of the lighthouse.
Circular stairs,
Yep.
and it was a regular color picture. I took it with I use Nikon equipment, and I took it with a 28 millimeter 300 zoom, but I left it wide open, and I caught the entire stairway. And if you were to see it in black and regular non-artistic, it's basically just a black and white photo, but it's color black and white. Um, and then I just walk it through different stages. I have a couple of different softwares that I use in addition to my regular film digital processing. Um, and some, you know, it's a matter of the picture sometimes will talk to me. Actually, most of the time it'll talk to me and say, okay, it's enough. You got it. You nailed it. Don't do anything more.
Hmm.
And that's the way artists feel, I guess, about their work too. When they're using a paintbrush or a pencil or a color pencil
Sure.
or a spray can. Some of the most amazing work I found was the first year I went to Miami Art Week, which was in 22. The muralists outside the building and in the streets, and they're using spray cans, spray paint, and they're doing, garage size murals, and it's really interesting stuff.
Well, that's where the true professional comes in because, like a comedian, know when the joke is done, know when it's time to go. You take a photograph, then you enhance it, but then you know when to stop. You could just keep going. So
Right. Yeah.
with this lighthouse, the colors that are there, when you work with the software, is it it's placing the colors there, or are you individually, yeah, I'm going to throw blue there, I'm going to throw this there, I'm going to
No,
throw
no.
that there.
Well, I can change the colors,
Sure,
but some of the software does throw in the colors that
sure,
it it may pick up a certain vibe, I'll say, or frequency or informational read from the. It's all digital. It's all ones and zeros. It's kind of like the Matrix, the movie The Matrix. It's
sure.
all ones and zeros, and it just may pick up a certain feel for a color at that point and throw it in that one spot,
Sure.
like the blues in this picture. Uh, I think I sent you a picture of um, a, a doorway. It's the one below the Denali and above the shrimp, and it's a face on a door mantle.
Yep, got it.
Okay, that was in Paris, and it was just white marble or white sandstone or something like that, and it was over the mantle of a door,
Mm.
and it was just black and white basically, and I just let my imagination go crazy with me.
It's and you know what? It's very carefully done, where again, not overdone. And looking at the colors, it almost looks like a tapestry. It's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I would never guess that that was. I think that's where the surprise comes. I would never know that that's something over a door mantle. I wouldn't initially know that that is looking up into a lighthouse. Once the colors are there, when you see something and you photograph it, very often do you say to yourself, I got something here. This could be good. Does your intuition tell you that?
Sometimes it will catch my eye, and then okay, so the picture that's above the bicycle that I
Hmm.
sent you,
Yep.
that is actually a spider in a spider web
Are we
that I
talking about
took.
with the, well, hold on a sec here, because
It looks like a blue flying saucer, alien saucer, or an alien face with red background. That was a tiny little spider that I took with my. I love playing with infrared uh, cameras and whatnot.
wow.
And that was a tiny little spider in a web. And it just caught my eye. And I said, bang, let me take a picture. And I played with it. And it's just a matter of what catches my eye and
Hmm.
what I can do with it.
You know what
I
I'm
yeah,
learning
go
here,
ahead.
Alan? It's we're interpreting it as we see it. Looking at that, I feel that that is a tiny little spaceship, tiny, micro, flying inside an artery in somebody's body. It's
Reminds me of the Fantastic Voyage, 1966, Stephen Boyd and
mm,
Raquel Welch, and oh, I can't think of the guy's name now, but he was in The Great Escape, and he also played a Bond villain. He played Blofeld in Diamonds Are Forever, and I can't think of the guy's name. He was
mm.
really, really. He was an RAF pilot during World War II, and he played the officer that went blind in the camp in The Great Escape. And I can't think of his name right now, but that that's just he played the villain in Fantastic Voyage, and that picture reminds me now that you said it, going through a little spaceship or submarine going through an artery. That's what it's like, and
Yeah,
it tickles
again,
somebody's fancy. Now the picture below the bicycle. I'm also a school teacher, and when I go to school, so, when I know that there's an event, I bring my camera because you never know. And I'm very careful about not getting children's faces in it. But that was what they call a color run. And it just so happened to come out on the holiday of Denali.
Hmm.
And that's all cornstarch that they colored and threw up in the air. Um, I just did what I do, and there it is. And that was just they loved it.
And you caught it at the perfect
And I,
time where that, call it dust or material was up in the air and then capturing the color. I want to dig back into some of the photographs, especially the bike one in just a moment, which you won
sure.
an award for. Where did this all begin for you, Alan? Was this, even as a kid, did you want
Um,
to take
well,
pictures?
I'll tell you, it um, hold on, it when I was a wee lad, um, to the point where um, I was a year old, and you know how parents get their kids a picture of their first birthday and stuff like that.
Sure.
Um, well, this was here I'm going to send you my first selfie. My mother gave or had a Hawkeye brownie, Kodak Hawkeye brownie, and she was giving it to me, and I accidentally pushed the shutter as she was giving it to me, and I took my first selfie, and there
Yeah.
it is.
That's
It's
funny.
blurry as all, but getting back
By
when
the
I
way,
was
Alan, I just want to interject here that I also had the Brownie camera, and
yeah.
it wasn't mine, but I used it. But I still remember the first camera that I owned, and that
Uh-huh.
was that was the Kodak X15, which was just a basic Instamatic
I remember it. I
flash
have my
cube.
uh-huh. Oh, that I go back even further with that. I have my dad when he was bar mitzvahed, he was 13. He got a Kodak 620 camera. It
Yep.
had a steel aperture that had three openings, and you would slide it depending upon what you wanted to do, a portrait, a family gathering, or a landscape kind of thing.
Yep.
And it had a bellows made out of leather, and it took 620 roll film. I
Yep.
still have that, and it's still in the box because my grandparents didn't want my father to use it because it was valuable at that time. My father was a depression baby. He was born in 1926,
Sure.
and my dad was a little bit of a klutz. Mom taught me everything I needed to know about how to fix things in the house and cooking and everything else like that. But the the I have his camera, and I have my mother's twin lens reflex, the ones that you would look down in and the image is upside down.
I
Um,
had one of those, and I can't remember the brand, but it was, I remember it being black and looking down into it. I wish I could remember which one
yeah,
that was.
yeah. And I have a couple of other cameras that I've collected along the way, and they're fond memories. And
Mm.
um, one of the women that I went with, I had a little. I'm going to use this camera, a little shirt pocket camera. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but
You know what? It's blending into the
it,
background. I see the background of the
yeah,
camera.
okay. So it's one of these cameras that you can put into a shirt pocket,
Sure.
that size. And I was taking pictures of bands at that time, and she said, if you want to run with the big boys, you got to buy big boy equipment. So that's when I bought my first Nikon,
Mm.
and I have about um, a dozen of them now. Two of them I have converted for infrared, but the rest of them I've gotten better, successively more sophisticated and better resolution cameras. And as if I don't have enough to do, I have my clothing line that I'm building. Uh, Growing up, so let me go back. The first picture, or that first birthday picture that I had, the photographer that was taking the picture gave me a roll or a box of roll film to hold on to, and I was looking at it. And I guess that's the first time that I ever really had anything to do with photography in my hands.
Mm.
And I had talked to, I think I had mentioned it when I had talked to Jill a couple of weeks ago. And uh, it was just one of those incredible journeys. And since then, or since I was 5, I've always had a camera nearby or in my hand or something, if not just to take pictures of my kids, the scenery, a bug, a flower. And I was just the 5th of October, I was at a walk-a-thon for the hostages before they were released. And I'm in a park in Jupiter, Florida, and it had rained the night before, and there were these huge mushrooms growing out of the ground. And it brought back memories of when I first started to get serious about photography again, about 15 years ago. And that's how I started. I started taking pictures, getting down on my hands and knees and taking pictures of mushrooms. Just that's enough of a spark to, you only need a spark to start a fire.
I just, as you're talking, randomly clicked on your website, and I'm on the page with mushrooms. And
Okay, the Go Ask Alice collection. Yes.
we don't realize the detail underneath a mushroom. It's all flat at the top, but underneath there's, the hundreds of different sections underneath.
Right.
And they're so artistic. What's your favorite thing to photograph, Alan? What's your, everything can be art in your eyes, it seems.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you gravitate back to thinking that, I still
Well,
like that?
It's a yin and yang. I like doing sunsets, sunrises, stuff at the beach.
Mm.
And that's I guess, my level calm. And then I really go to town when I am photographing concerts.
Mm.
I had to take. I was invited to be part of the media at Billy Joel's concert in Madison Square Garden, February. It was Valentine's Day in 2019.
Mm-hmm. Know it well. And I see a lot of his shows. He's a friend as well.
Yeah, and well, I'm going to send you. I gave it to Jill, but I'll share with you the picture of Billy Joel, and I would love for him to sign this, but he's dealing with like health issues right now.
I'm grabbing it off the wall and take a look. And here's somebody I know photographed this. It wasn't that concert. This one is from like probably 2012. And that's another friend. His name is Kevin Mazer. I don't know if you know him.
Uh,
But yeah, he takes band pictures, entertainment pictures. He took
well,
that. Billy signed that. So yeah, send him my way.
well,
You never know.
well,
Oh, cool.
there's that's the same picture, black and white in color. I
Yeah,
absolutely love the black and white picture.
I agree. Yeah.
It
And
just
nothing
has
wrong with the
so
color
much
one.
that has so much character.
Yeah.
And I was last April. I was at the Hollywood, Florida Salsa Festival, and the one of the organizers there asked me. He said, was talking to me, and he said, you're running circles around the other 4 photographers. He said, just out of curiosity, how old are you? Because I looked older than the next closest one to me, and he says, you got to be in your 50s. He said, I'm 70. I'm going to be 72 in July.
Good for you.
And he says, no, I can't believe it. I pulled out my driver's license and I showed him the date, and he said, wow. That's all he could say. He didn't know how else to respond. Talking about being a 72, I was born 8 minutes before the end of the Korean War. And
Mm.
amongst all the other things that I'm doing, the dress line, women's clothing line, and the site with all of the pictures and stuff, I've started to write a book about my life called The Last Korean War Baby. I mean, I don't know how many
Wow.
others there are between 7:52 p.m. and 8 p.m. when it when it took effect. But I look at myself and say, hey, I'm the last, one of the last Korean War babies. So it's
Mm.
another inspiration of what to do.
Does it ever get boring when you're taking pictures ever?
I'm going to say very bluntly, no, it never does. I mean, there's sometimes I will work with a model or a musician. Sometimes if a musician is just standing there in front of the mic and not doing any moving around or anything like that, it gets boring. You can only take so many head and shoulder shots or shots where they're playing a guitar or something like that. But Billy Joel, Charlie Daniels, my favorite, and I sent this one to Jill too, but I'll show you my favorite shot of all of, and I love Artemis Pyle because he is such a great guy. But the one picture I love of Charlie Daniels, it is of Charlie Daniels. And he signed this picture, and I took it at the Rock Ribs and Ridges Festival in North Jersey, in Sussex County,
Mm.
at the end of June. And he signed that. If you look very carefully in his mouth, you will see a piece of blue chewing gum.
Hang on. I'm going in. You,
That's the reason he signed it.
you are correct. There it is.
Now, now, when I went to Billy's concert, the chaperone for the press said, "I never heard your camera stop clicking. How many pictures did you take?" They give you 3 songs, 10 minutes. I'm sure you're aware. Uh, I took 3,500 pictures in 10 minutes.
Wow.
And it's because you can catch somebody with their eye like closed or their mouth in an odd position, and the next second or half second, that's the picture that's going to be the killer, like
Yep.
Charlie's picture.
Yep. And what's beautiful about this picture, aside from the gum, it's real. You could have photoshopped that
Mm-hmm.
out, but
No, no, no. That was the killer. That was the reason why.
and looking at his fiddle, you can see when you zoom in a little bit, you can see the wear on it. And you can even look where he plays and the dust that is placed down on that from the playing of the strings or whatever
Mm-hmm.
that's called, that the bow. Um,
Yeah, the bow. Yeah,
you can see
the
that detail.
the resin from
Yes.
the bow. Yeah.
It and then the Devil Went Down to Georgia, plays in my mind, and I look at that, and
Well,
you can see him.
95% of the time, that's what I hear. Because that's the song that made me think, oh, Charlie Daniels is going to be there. Damn, I'm going to be at this festival.
Yeah. Wow. And it worked in your favor, I may say. The
Oh
hat,
yeah.
the hat he has on shades his eyes so you can really see the detail. The eyes aren't washed out. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say if it wasn't underneath the hat, of course he's got glasses on, but just amazing. We're just about out of time. I could keep going. It's
Yeah.
like too much
Well,
fun.
next week when we talk, I'll have a few other concert pictures.
Sure.
Uh, One of the ones that's another favorite of mine is of Travis Tritt, and I'm in the photo pit taking this picture, and Travis is I'm belly to the stage, and he is playing guitar. He's the first one that liked it on Twitter. And I
Mm.
have a picture of the picture, and next to it is the picture of him liking it and being the first person to like it on Twitter. They can see more of my work at Limited Editions by Alan, ALAN.com. And if they go on to, if they're on Instagram, Mind's Eye Photos 1953, and all of my links are there. The clothing line, my limited editions line, how to get in touch with me, pay my way, and I'll be there to photograph the concert. It's just one thing after another. I got a commission back in June to shoot a concert in February down here in Boca with Carmine Apici of Vanilla Fudge.
Drummer, right?
Yeah, drummer.
Yeah.
And he saw the picture I did at Tito Puente Jr. and he says, I want one of them. So
you're the man in demand.
Yeah. I'm waiting for people to start knocking at the door.
Well, I want to share with everyone, we're talking about a couple of different things here, but you photograph everything from cars to landscapes to beaches to just everything. Models. Yes. Yeah. So I want everybody to know that there's so much variety there, but it's done with such an artistic eye. Like, honestly, you have you've woken me up in terms of visually. And you've turned photography truly into art. Alan, great having you on here. Awesome talking about all of this, and looking forward next time we dig in.
And we'll see you next week.
You got it. Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.